not later than March 31, 2022, and annually thereafter through 2026. The Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency shall provide the Congressional Defense Committees, the Select Committee on Intelligence of the Senate, and the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence of the House of Representatives a briefing on the electronic warfare threat to operations of the Department of Defense by Russia, China, and other countries relevant to the conduct of such operations. B. Contents. Each briefing provided under subsection A shall include a review of the following. 1. Current electronic warfare capabilities of the Armed Forces of Russia, the Armed Forces of China, and the Armed Forces of such other countries as the Director considers appropriate. Two. With respect to the 5-year period beginning after the date of the briefing, an estimate of a. Advances in electronic warfare threats to the operations of the Department from the countries referred to in paragraph 1, and b. The order of battle for Russia, China, and each other country the Secretary considers appropriate. Sec. 1624. Report on Explosive Ordnance Intelligence Matters. Not later than 180 days after the date of the enactment of this Act, the Secretary of Defense shall submit to the Congressional Defense Committees a report on the feasibility and advisability of 1. Designating the Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency as the executive agent for explosive ordnance intelligence, and 2. Including in the responsibilities of the Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency pursuant to Section 105 of the National Security Act of 1947, 50 U.S.C. (3038) Explosive Ordnance Intelligence, including with respect to the processing, production, dissemination, integration, exploitation, evaluation, feedback, and analysis of explosive ordnance using the skills, techniques, principles, and knowledge of explosive ordnance disposal personnel regarding fusing, firing systems, ordnance disassembly, and development of render-safe techniques, procedures and tools, publications, and applied technologies. Subtitle See Nuclear Forces Sec. 1631. Participation in United States Strategic Command Strategic Deterrence Exercises. Chapter 24 of Title 10, United States Code, is amended by adding at the end the following new section, and conforming the table of sections at the beginning of such chapter accordingly. Sec. 499b. Participation in United States Strategic Command Strategic Deterrence Exercises. A. Participation. In the case of annual strategic deterrence exercises held by the United States Strategic Command during fiscal years 2022 through 2032, 1. The Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs is encouraged to participate in each such exercise that occurs during an even-numbered year. 2. The Deputy Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs is encouraged to participate in each such exercise that occurs during an odd-numbered year. 3. The Undersecretary of Defense for Policy shall participate, in whole or in part, in each such exercise. 4. The Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff shall participate, in whole or in part, in each such exercise. Five. Appropriate senior staff of the Executive Office of the President or appropriate organizations supporting the White House relating to continuity of government activities are encouraged to participate in each such exercise. 6. Appropriate general or flag officers of the military departments, and appropriate employees of federal agencies in senior executive service positions, as defined in Section 3132 of Title 5, shall participate, in whole or in part, in each such exercise, to provide relevant expertise to the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs and the Deputy Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs. And 7. In the case of such an exercise for which a unified combatant command has a geographic area of responsibility relevant to the scenario plan to be used for the exercise, not fewer than 2 of the following individuals from that command shall participate, in whole or in part, in the exercise: A. The commander. B. The deputy commander. C. The director of the Joint Staff for Operations. D. The director of the Joint Staff for Strategic Plans and Policy. B. Briefing not fewer than once every 4 years, or more frequently if appropriate, during the period specified in subsection A. The President shall be provided a briefing on the annual strategic deterrence exercise held by the United States Strategic Command during the year in which the briefing is provided, including the principal findings resulting from the exercise. C. Reports. One. Not later than 30 days after the completion of an annual strategic deterrence exercise described in subsection A. The commander of the United States Strategic Command shall submit to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense a report on the exercise, which, at a minimum, shall include the following: A. A description of the purpose and scope of the exercise. B. An identification of the principal personnel participating in the exercise. C. A statement of the principal findings resulting from the exercise that specifically relate to the nuclear command, control, and communications or senior leader decision-making process, and a description of any deficiencies in that process identified as a result of the exercise. D. Whether the President was briefed on the exercise and the principal findings resulting from the exercise. Two. Not later than 60 days after the completion of an annual strategic deterrence exercise described in subsection A. The Secretary shall submit to the Congressional Defense Committees A. An unedited copy of the report of the Commander submitted under paragraph 1, and B. Any additional recommendations or other matters the Secretary considers appropriate. Sec.